morning, everybody. Welcome to Secure the Seat Live. My name is Minda Hartz, and I am your host. If it's your first time joining us, welcome. You're already part of the family. If you rock with me every Monday at noon, welcome back. You already know that you are part of the squad. If you're watching us live on this Monday, please go ahead and drop in the chat how your weekend was. I hope you're doing well. My weekend was nice. It was busy, but it was nice. The weather was great. And I am, after the show, back on the road for 3 weeks. And so I had a nice break, semi-break for the last week. So I am back in the thick of things, but just always enjoy our time spent every Monday at noon, depending on what area you're on. Today, we're going to talk about what happens and what to do when your career has been interrupted. And I don't know if any of you have ever had to pivot or do something different or reestablish yourself or rebrand, depending on what intersection you sit at. We've all probably we've had some type of interruption, right? I know if you've read any of my books, The Memo, Right Within, You Are More Than Magic, my life has been filled with interruptions, but I've been able to take the power over them. And I think that that's part of it, right? Understanding how we reassess and realign and redefine success by our own terms. And so I think this is a great way, as we're hearing so much conversation about, the Great Resignation and all those sorts of things. And I thought it would be really great to have Reena Gupta on today. She is a founder and author, a CEO, amongst many different things. And we're going to talk today about the work that she's doing in the talent space and how she is helping those who have been interrupted in some way, shape, or form. And so again, let us know how your weekend was. Tag somebody. Most of you are watching us on LinkedIn, and we appreciate you. But also, if you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, we see you. So if you have questions throughout the show, make sure that you drop them in. I have to show you this before we get going. So last week I had the pleasure of being a keynote speaker at the California Library Association. And one of the shirts that were in the venue was Find Your Voice. And if you know anything about me, I always say that we all have a voice. You just have to decide how you want to use it. And so it was when I saw the shirt, I'm like, I have to get it. And so that was a really great experience. Shout out to CLA and Janae and just those at the conference that were really awesome. It was just a really great time. I had not been in an auditorium in a long time to give a keynote face to face. And so it was a lot of fun. So let's jump into today's conversation with today's special guest. I'm going to bring you to the stage. Good morning, Reena. How are you?
I am doing great. Good morning, everyone.
Happy to be that you're here. So for those who may not know about the work that you do, will you just tell everybody a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. So I call myself as a solo bootstrapped entrepreneur, a label that I've given myself. I have founded many companies in the talent industry, starting from being an independent consultant to running a staffing company, to building software for staffing companies, to creating a program called Mom Relaunch, where we nurture women who are on a career break to get back into the IT workforce specifically, as well as I'm a newly minted author for the book Career Interrupted. I'm also part of my local community as advisor for Economic Vitality Council for community funds, as well as some advisory roles in Salesforce ecosystem for partner ecosystem as well. So a few things. On top of that, my best title is I'm a mom of 2 kids, and I'm also a mom of a furry baby who sits with me here in every meeting, and I have to hold him, otherwise he will find his voice.
You know what? Our fur babies, they definitely know how to find their voice. I have
Exactly.
one, and he lets me know that he has a voice, and when he's not happy with me, he lets me know it. I never have to guess.
Exactly. There's so much to learn from them. I can tell you that.
Absolutely. So we're going to drop your website in the chat so that people can find out more about you and connect with Mom's Relaunch. But you know what? You mentioned Mom Relaunch. So before I ask you some of the other questions, let's just talk about that. Why did you create Mom Relaunch, and who is it for? And let's talk a little bit more about that, because I know sometimes, I don't know if moms consider their careers interrupted or life interrupted, or maybe it's an interruption that they welcome. But I would love to hear about how you're helping them redefine what success looks like.
I go back and say everything I do in my work and my life, there's some connection, some story. And my story of Mom Relaunch really started when I hired a stay-at-home mom who was a really good friend of mine. And I was starting my staffing company, and I thought she can be trained and nurtured. And she came to me, and I was nurturing her behind the scene to just do my work. And the day she was like in 6 months or so, she was ready to go on. I presented her in front of my client who was my where she worked as a consultant, and that was the process that I have implemented in Mom Relaunch. That was my story. I hired many women in my companies, given them the opportunity to grow in leadership roles, as well as given them the flexibility to work remotely, to work their own work hours in terms of, but they have always been three attributes that I have seen over and over again. They are productive, they're loyal, and most importantly, they're accountable. And I've made these as the values of Mom Relaunch. We nurture women who are on a career break. And my expertise has been in the talent industry, my expertise has been in the IT industry. So, knowing all those things, I have invested my own time and money. It's recently got uh, made as a nonprofit, but we have been running it as a company to make sure that we provide that platform to women who feel, and we think that the most important thing they lost is their confidence. And the way we have structured our program is our nurturing help that bring that confidence back. And we have a very well aligned 4-step process to do that.
I love that so much. And I think that, sometimes we think about, we talk a lot about women, obviously, women of color on this show, but some of us are mothers, right? Or some are stay at home mothers or working mothers or however
Mhm.
you caretakers. And I think it's always nice to be able to have those places where we can, where maybe our confidence has been a little shaky, or we've been out of the workforce for a very long time or for some period of time. And knowing that there's a community, I always say that success is not a solo sport. And I'm just so glad that you created Mom Relaunch, because it is a space where we all need to feel wanted. And like you
Yes.
said, the skill set hasn't left, right?
True, true. So, talking about community, we say this is a program by the moms for the moms. So, we have a core team of moms who are learning and running the program. I'm pretty much acting mostly like an advisor, and they are the ones who are running it. They are the ones who are helping each other. They become peer guide for each other. Um, so, it's nurturing themselves. We say that if you come to a program, not only come with the mindset of what you're going to get here, but what can you teach, because everybody has something to teach, everybody has some wisdom to share, even if it is as simple as how to be healthy, right? So that could be one of the things that they can learn from each other, how to be it's just some having somebody to talk to who are going through the same process, who are going through the same struggles in life. That helps ease so much, understanding that they are not alone in this journey. I think that is the biggest thing that we have created in our community.
Well, again, we're going to drop the link inside the chat so that people can get connected, and tag a mother, tag somebody who you know that could definitely benefit from learning more about Mom Relaunch. So here we share resources. We don't hoard them for ourselves, because it's not enough for us to quote unquote get our seat at the table if we're not bringing other people with us. So I love that so much, Reena. My other question to you is, like you said, you're a newly minted author of Career
Mhm.
Interrupted. Maybe you can talk to us a little bit about why you decided to write that book, and in a piece of advice for those who have felt like there's been an interruption. And I know with the pandemic, there's a lot of interruptions that have taken place for many of us. And so would love to hear more about that.
Sure. So, remember, I told you that I feel like my story has every connecting dots. So, I, when I started writing the book, I really wanted to just write a book about how to be a solo bootstrapped entrepreneur with not much business experience and no connections, coming from a country where, or coming from the family basically, where I was the first woman to have a career, even think about a career. So a lot of things that came together, and I started talking to one of my I thought like I need a ghostwriter to help me with the right putting my thoughts together. So I reached out to somebody on LinkedIn, and turned out that she was a stay-at-home mom. Her career was interrupted. She has taken a backseat, but she was a script writer for movies and all that. And she and I felt connected so quickly on multiple levels. We call ourselves as soul sisters now. She actually became my co-author because we bring in such diverse understanding of not only from the struggles that women face, but the cultural things, the opportunities, and things that we feel that women in some of the developed countries may have sorted that out, but it's not that easy, right? So having that combination of bringing her as my co-author or being part of the team, she and I started brainstorming about what we should write. And we thought that writing about bootstrap entrepreneurship will be great. At least that's what I thought. Then she came up and said, "No, you're doing such a great work at Mom Relaunch. Why don't you talk about something like that?" And we started talking, okay, we'll write a book for women who have gone through a career interruption. And suddenly pandemic happened. And we started brainstorming in March. April, the whole world went through career interruption and this book came to life. So it's not only just for women, but it's anyone who has felt career interruption in any form. Like we know so many people got laid off. So many people were uncertain. We all were uncertain, not only about job, but our lives. So this career interruption book has three legged stool concept, which is first is your family and friends, second is your own health, and third is your career, and how to keep everything in harmony. And we have created in three different sections. First is realize how you got here. What is the story behind it? What are your strengths? Understand yourself, because unless you understand yourself, we call it as a very action oriented book. It goes through multiple exercises. By the end of the first section, you will really know what and how you are here. Second is we call it as reinvest, not reinvent. I purposely kept away from the fact of the word called reinvent, because I don't think we all want to reinvent ourselves. We just want to continue to reinvest to become a better version of ourselves. So that's, we call it as reinvesting, and we put together a lot of action in how to do that, from finding a community that like Mom Relaunch or others, and then finally relaunch. And relaunching also, we talk about not only as a career, but we give them three specific paths. The path that I took when I had my son and I wanted to do is the entrepreneurial path. So, how to become an entrepreneur and how to be a successful entrepreneur is part of the book, and the steps of do's and don'ts. And my original book, I say that became a chapter in this book. So, and the second is how to be a freelancer, because many people are going to be a freelancer or have a career that is they are going to try it out. And third is how to just continue to be a successful in working for someone, and then come up with a one page work life harmony canvas that we call it as similar to what the business lean canvas concept is. And it's like a one page concept that you can use it to share your own thoughts. Imagine summarizing your life and plan in one page document, and making yourself accountable, making yourself, you share it with someone. All those things are part of the book. So we have made it as a very action oriented book. We also have some workshops that I go through, that I have, especially at Mom Relaunch. We tell them how to even bring family and friends on the table and create that supportive environment at home. So a lot of I call it a lot of wisdom in that book to look at that, to follow.
Oh, that's wonderful. And for those who might have missed it, it's career interrupted. If you're going through an interruption, you know someone who their career has been interrupted. I don't know anyone who has been working in the last 2 years, how there hasn't been some interruption in some way, shape, or form in all of our lives. So like Reena said, this is a book for everyone. So we've dropped the link in the chat for that as well. If you have any questions that you want to ask, now's the time to drop them in, but we want to make sure that we answer any questions that we might have time for. I know, Reena, I have one last question for you before we jump into our bonus round. The Mondays go so fast around here. You know, maybe you can tell us, I don't know if it's your situation or maybe someone that you worked with where their career had been interrupted, but there was success on the other side. Because I think as we go into the rest of this work week, it's very I mean, obviously you've been able to relaunch at different times. So I won't say reinvent because you said relaunch at different times for your own self. But, somebody out there is probably sitting and wondering, wow, this interruption has been longer than I thought, and I'm not really sure what to do next. And maybe just hearing a success story of someone who has done it
Mhm.
just will inspire us going into the rest of the week.
Well, I have over 100 stories at Mom Relaunch that I can share that they have relaunched through our program. Almost all of them have been with a career break. Almost all of them have uh, a process that they went through which have reduced their confidence because they study, they get certified, they get um, interviews. Sometimes they don't even get called for interviews, but when they come to our program they get that all those things done in a way that they feel confident and they have relaunched themselves. One of my favorite stories of Mom Relaunch has been where a person who has been on career break for almost 11 years, and we prepare for them for interviews, and that was the first story I would say, that we helped them prepare for the interview. And the comment that she made is like, it didn't even feel like interview, because we had not only prepared her, but we also prepared the people who are taking the interview to make sure that they understand what their background is, what they're coming for, and where the expectation is. So, setting up the expectation at Mom Relaunch for both the candidates who are being interviewed as well as the companies that they are hiring is one of the biggest success story that I can share. I mean, we have moms who have re- received amazing offers, so over 100K offers. I mean, it's like it's mind blowing. My own story of relaunch, as I said, is like, interestingly, everybody thinks that I have taken a career break or something, because even after I've written the book, and they feel that I have been on a career break. That's why, but I have never been on a career break. What I did is I understood that after having my child, and I had some health issues and all those things. So I knew that I didn't want to do a regular 9 to 5 job. So I took an entrepreneurial route. So I have relaunched myself. I have pivoted myself in my career. And I feel like there are multiple stories I can share over and over again, maybe a story about every relaunch in our program.
That I love those stories. They're so good. And I think it's just a reminder that regardless of kind of if you're a mom, if you're not a mom, however you might identify, I think it's really important for us to understand that there's people in similar spaces who have relaunched, right? And I think that it's really great. So again, momrelaunch.org, that's where you can find out more. You can also pick up Career Interrupted wherever you like to buy your books. I'm just thankful for the work that you do, because I don't think that we talk enough in all spaces about mothers, and making sure that when we talk about flexibility, that we're also including parents in the conversation, and caretakers.
Yeah.
I think is really, really important if we're talking about inclusivity, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the workplace, not only just the workplace, but the whole society needs to understand the challenges and the struggles that women go through. And it's an age old, and I'm not expecting it to change in one generation. What I see is the pace at which it is changing makes me very optimistic, to a point that I feel that if men don't catch up, they will be left behind. So women has found their voice, and they will continue to find. I can see the difference in just 3 generations of my own experience, of the experience of my mom, her mindset, and how I was raised versus what I am here, and the struggles that our generation face. Because we call ourselves a sandwich generation, and my the mindset of my daughter and her daughter would be completely different. And I think it's time to uh, put some training and workforce things for men, and otherwise, I'm really worried that they will be left behind. Women are not going to be stopped at any point. So we have also created a program in our where we teach men how to participate and have a process for it. We call as putting the family and uh, all the kids and everybody, even creating a support network. So we teach all those things to moms as well as to men. I have a one whole chapter dedicated towards that in my book, how to be a supportive partner and help. And it's not only for women, but if they don't do it, as you know, that women are finding their voice, they're finding their financial independence, and soon the if they can't find the support, they leave, and it brings and breaks the family. And the challenges are the kids are the problem, gets through so much trouble. So until unless men step up, and until unless the partners, when I say the supportive partner, it could be anyone, I mean anyone who's helping. Otherwise, it's not only women who needs to be taught anymore, it's the whole society and the whole workplace, and has to be taught.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think part of it is just unlearning some things. And like you said, generationally, what might have been taught to us, 50 years ago is a little bit
Hmm.
different than what, this generation of, young adults are experiencing. They get to use their voice
Exactly.
in a way that, women in the 50s and 60s and 70s couldn't, so I think it's really important. I'll also say it's the reason why I wrote my young adult book, You Were More Than Magic, because there are some intergenerational themes that we all experience, but the way in which we go about them, we need those new tools on how to communicate and how to see ourselves in a different way. And so,
Yeah.
thank you so much. But I think including anyone who wants to be part of this conversation to make sure that we make the workplace better than we found it is really, really important. Which leads me to one of my bonus questions: is what's one tip you would give everybody on how to make the workplace better than we found it?
Before I answer this question, I'll tell you one more thing about young adults, that I teach entrepreneurship to young high school students and college students. And I see the change, I see the mindset, and I am extremely hopeful that the struggles that our generation has faced is not going to be there in the long run. In the long run. Uh, Back to your question, I think most of the time, the workplace and team leaders and all, they look at a lot of things that can be uh, not considered, in a way that they look at a lot of external things instead of looking at the talent. And the more and more we do a career assessment at Mom Relaunch, and within 5 minutes, we can tell what is the real talent that someone is bringing in. And then we guide them in that direction. And that experience has taught me that if workplace has to be changed, they need to look into those talent. They need to look into the skills that a person is bringing, instead of what the color of the skin is, what ethnicity is, whether they belong to our community, and what their educational background is. So those things are there. And I also give an analogy, like, how the queen bee, she leads, and she looks into all those bees and tell them, or at least the bees are trained to look at the nectar, right? When they go to the flower, they just look at the nectar. They don't look at the if the flower is with thorns, they don't what color it is, but they look into the nectar. And that's what, if a workplace team leads, talent managers, they look at what the skill a person brings in, and how they add value to the company and to their own lives. Are they doing their job with a purpose, or they're just doing it for the sake of doing it? If you change that mindset, if you change that perspective of looking at a person's skills and the talent, I think it can be a better place. Right now, we all are involved with looking at thorns and the colors of the flowers rather than the actual nectar.
That's definitely one way to look at it. I had never heard the analogy put like that, but I do think there's a lot of various factors, like you said, and skill set. And just because you haven't been in the workforce for X amount of years doesn't mean that that skill set is lost. Doesn't mean that new skills can't be acquired and those sorts of things. So I appreciate the conversation and what you're adding to this the career conversation, because there's so many facets and there's so many of us that need to be represented in
Yeah.
the conversation. And so thank you so much for the work that you do. Again, we'll drop Mom Relaunch in the chat. So for those who are mothers who want to be mothers in the future, or someone who currently is experiencing that, please go ahead and do it. And then also, even if you're not a mom, just go check out the site, look at the resources, see what's available there, so that you can also and pick up Career Interrupted. But thank you, Reena, for being our guest today on Secure the Seat.
And I like to add one more thing. Even if you're not a mom, we are inviting people to come as friends of Mom Relaunch. They can be advisors, they can be mentors, they can be guide. If not, they can just be a reference for moms in their company, and they can work with us. So everybody is invited to come and help us. It's not something we can do alone. So we love to have that.
I'm glad that you added that. And so we dropped that in the chat. Go there, find out how you can be an ally. That's really important, a success partner. And so again, thank you for the work that you're doing in the space. It was such a pleasure to connect with you today.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity.
My pleasure. All right. Listen, today's episode was really, really awesome. Many of us may be mothers, might not be mothers, might be guardians, caretakers, what have you. And I think it's still important for us, those of us who are in the workforce or returning to the workforce, to understand what some of our colleagues might be experiencing, what some of our people who report into us. It's really important that we understand that lens, right? And so when we have conversations or we talk about certain things, that we're not only making decisions based off of our own experiences. I think that sometimes gets us in trouble because we're not having an intersectional lens. We're mid-June and we still have our affirmation. So I'm going to bring Mike up so that he can give our affirmation and we can close this thing out. Haven't forgot about rap lyric. I'm going to give that to you in just a moment. But hey, Mike, how are you?
What's up, Minda? How you doing?
Good, good. Looking good, brother.
Thank you. You as well. You as well.
Great show today. Give them the June affirmation. If you're new here, every month we have an affirmation. And so we're leaning in, digging our heels into our affirmation for the month. So give it to them, Mike.
Yes, we don't chase, we attract. I don't chase, I attract. I just want to put everybody in a picture for a minute. Just think and focus on every time you've chased something, it's ran away from you. Maybe it's a person you wanted to date. You were head over heels. You had to have that individual in your life. You saw that person as your future partner. As soon as you started chasing, they started running. And you said, what happened? I thought we had a connection. I thought everything was going well. Well, that energy, people can read energy really well. And you start to act desperate. You start to chase. When you come in a job situation and your future employer is looking at you and you come in and you say, I'll take any salary. I just want to work here. They're going to rake you over the coals. They're going to say, "Oh my gosh, this is red meat. This is a great opportunity for me to rip somebody off." That's what they're going to say. Unfortunately, that's the society we live in. So anything you begin to chase runs away from you. We have to learn how to attract. Everything good belongs to us. God wants us to have productive lives, good lives, healthy lives, our health. Let our health prosper. Let our soul prosper. Let our family prosper. Let everything that we have prosper. But it has to come to us in a healthy and unique way by affirming it daily, by attracting it, by it becoming more of us. When you become something, then you begin to attract things. When you begin to chase things, it just runs away from you. I do not chase, I attract. I want you to say that in the chat. I don't chase anymore, I attract. I don't chase, I attract. Thank you, Minda.
Oh, that was great. Listen, go into this week not chasing, but attracting. Think about what it is that you need to put that energy out so that you get it matched, right? You know, we often in some of our communities, we say, keep that same energy. Whatever energy you are putting out there, make sure that somebody's pulling up with that same energy too. And in the job context, if you keep having to email the recruiter, if you keep having to ask what the salary requirements are, if you keep having to say, we had an interview last week, I haven't heard from you in a month, like you keep having to run after that. Once you get into that space, do you think it's going to change? Do you think that that you're not going to still have to chase after the answers that you want? All of these things are very important for us to understand that we are not chasers, we are attractors. Okay, we are the asset. It's a privilege. Okay, so that's I want you to keep that same energy. I have to tell myself that all the time because many of us have been used to chasing things because we think if we don't grab it, somebody else is going to get it, or I'm not going to ever get it. Listen, what is for you is for you. Okay, what is for you is for you. And I'm so glad that Mike, you gave us this affirmation for the month because we are attracting those things, right? We are not chasing. We don't create vision boards. We don't create affirmations so that we have to chase after everything, right? It's the energy, it's the preparation, it's all of the things that get us to that point. And so regardless of what you want to attract, don't chase. If you're always doing the texting, right? Yeah, they might respond to you, but they're not chasing you. There's a difference. And we all know what that feels like, even though we want the thing, right? And I think we just have to remind ourselves that we deserve, like you said, we deserve all the good things. We've worked too hard to lean out now, but because we have worked hard to get it, we want things matched, right? We want that salary matched. We want all of those things. And so as you're going into the week, even share this with somebody else. We actually, Mike, were you able to drop the affirmation card? We had one made for you all for the week so that you could, print it out, put it on your phone, take a screenshot of it. If we don't have it in the chat today, we'll post it on social media, but we don't chase, we attract, right?
Yeah.
Period. Mike, did you have anything you wanted to quickly add before we head out of here?
I was going to say, Minda, you've worked extremely hard to get where you are now. And one of the things that I think now, you have opportunities coming your way. And if you chase every one of those opportunities, you're going to wear yourself out. You are going to overextend yourself. And part of the problem with having a chasing mentality is it provides a sense of scarcity in your mind. Oh my gosh, I don't know when I'll get this opportunity again. But how many calls do you have to make? How many overnights do you have to stay up just to hope for an opportunity? We have to get out of this scarcity mentality. Abundance is for us. It's coming to us. Abundance, we have to have an abundance mindset to attract the things that we want to attract. When people walk in confidence and abundance, man, it's already there. It's already yours. You already got it. You just got to let it come to you.
I love that. And you sparked one more thing, and then we're going to get out of here. I happened to come across a little snippet of an interview with the rapper Big Sean, and he was saying that he no longer talks about what he doesn't have. So say, for example, I don't have love, or I don't have money, or those sorts of things, because you're giving energy to the things you don't have. Instead, the mindset shift is, I have those things. I'm just waiting for them to meet me when it's time, right? And that it does something different. It hits different when you hear it that way, because sometimes we're always like, oh, I don't have this didn't go through. And we're putting so much emphasis on the deficit instead of saying, when it's ready for me, when I'm ready for it, it's going to meet me. I don't have it right now, but I'm not lacking it. I have everything I need. That was an affirmation from past months. But again, we don't chase around here. That's not the kind of track stars we want to be. Okay, we not winning no gold medals to be chasing nothing down. We're not chasing nothing. This is not the season for that. So we're attracting what we want. Period. Point blank. And because I am a lover of grits and rap lyrics, I'm going to end today's show with my favorite rapper. You can debate me if Beyonce is a rapper or not. But over the weekend, there was trending Beyonce is coming, because she blanked out her social profiles. We don't know what any of it means. Many of us are just ready to hit the Ticketmaster button at any given time for those who are in the beehive. But I don't know what Beyonce is coming means, but I'm always ready for her. So today's rap lyric is, you must not know about me. You must not know about me. I can have another you by tomorrow. So don't you ever for a second get to thinking you're irreplaceable. We are not chasers around here, y'all. Point blank, period, right? If something isn't for us, then we're going to get what we need, right? We don't have to chase anything down. So let people know, they must not know about you. You're not a chaser. You're an attractor. And that's it. Bars.
To the left.
Bars, okay? And for anything that thinks that you need to be chasing them, then send them to the left. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Secure the Seat Live. Please share it. We appreciate you. We'll see you next Monday at noon. Have a great rest of your week.